Hey guys, it's me, Cassidy Civet. Now, I know a lot of us have been affected by COVID-19, the strain of coronavirus, and it's affecting us in both our real lives and our furry life. It's been affecting the conventions that we go to. Conventions such as Fertile Equinox, Golden State FurCon, Motor City FurCon, BLFC, and even Furry Weekend Atlanta have all either cancelled or postponed because of the virus. So today, I've decided to make a video explaining why some of these conventions might decide to cancel or postpone, so we can all understand the inner workings and difficult decision making that some of our beloved conventions have to go through in this unprecedented time, and why we should maybe consider donating our registration to these events. I've put this video together with a few sources that have multiple decades of convention running experience and have overlooked this script and have approved it. The obvious first thing to point out is the government ban on big gatherings, whether it be on the state, country, or city level. This is meant to prevent the spread of the virus, obviously. This is out of the event organizer's hands, of course. And so, this will trigger something in the contract called a force majeure, or an act of God, if you will. Sometimes they're used interchangeably, but there are differences. What this means is that when authorities declare some sort of a state of emergency or a ban, this activates the force majeure in the contract. There's an understanding in this scenario where both the hotel and the convention unfortunately will lose money. Of course, meaning that the event is a bust, but that being completely out of the control of both parties. It's literally impossible to predict some sort of a natural disaster or pandemic, right? There is a difference between these two clauses though. Usually a force majeure means that some sort of a man-made decision has happened out of the event organizer's hands, and that is why the event has been cancelled. Whereas an act of God is some sort of natural disaster or something like that. Something more natural that directly affects the con space rather than a government decision. It just depends on what's in the contract. However, as the date of the convention grows ever closer, there's already a lot of stuff in motion. Gear may have been ordered for the theater, con books might already be in production. There's a lot of costs involved with running a convention. So if a convention is cancelled, it's almost guaranteed to lose money, even if it manages to get out of the contract with the hotel. Which is why a convention may choose to postpone instead of cancel, as some of these materials, or even guests of honor, may be available or be able to be used at a later date in the same year. The hotel would of course prefer this too, right? So why cancel? Well, moving a con potentially like BLFC, which is now moved from April to October, could have ripple effects to other events at that time of year. Usually conventions are in contact with one another so that they don't all end up with the same theme or the same guests of honor, the dates don't conflict. You know, they like to make sure that everyone can attend as many conventions as possible and there's not a ton of overlap. So when a surprise pandemic appears and a convention decides to move, it can have unintended consequences for all the other conventions around that time, maybe even local events. There could be other conventions at that time of year that you're now directly competing with, and that's out of your hands. How do you think those other conventions feel? Canceling, although the worst case scenario, can allow for regrouping, but of course that means it's been a total waste of time for the current year, and that's never a good feeling. Because as much as the staff may try, not everything from the current year can carry over to next year. So okay, postponing means the event could possibly go on at a later date if the crisis is dealt with, and canceling basically pushes that option off the table and removes any stress so you can focus on the upcoming year, right? Well, not exactly. This next part of the video I'll explain some specific but metaphorical example numbers in a worst case scenario for why a convention might be hesitant to cancel instead of postpone. All the numbers and examples I'm going to use are totally made up, but could be used for other conventions to just kind of like plug in your own numbers so you can understand. Any coincidence is purely unintentional. A lot, maybe all, conventions rely on decisions passed down by the board of directors, that's the leaders of the non-profit, which is usually some sort of a furry named organization, that runs the whole event. The board decides how much money is spent on the event and how what they make gets put back into the con for the next year, gets donated, or gets put into a savings fund, or something like that. A rainy day, if you will. Some conventions have safety nets of savings. So let's say a convention costs $50,000 to run in a year, and at the end of the convention has made about $5,000. Of course, this scales over time and depending on the size of the convention. It's just a bunch of made up numbers, but it gets the point across. So if there is a canceled convention, that means there has to be enough money saved up, say from that $5,000 that they make each year, in the fund, that if there's a canceled event, there's enough in that fund to make up the difference if there's no money for the current year. Of course, you would make this money year after year of the event, so that just doesn't take into account how long the event has been going on for. Longer running events may have more saved up, you know? And even using age, it's impossible to tell if a convention decided to cancel or postpone based on their age, because we can't see their finances. We don't know the decisions that go on behind those board meetings. Likely the decision that ends up being made is a combination of the board's finances with the hotel's willingness to negotiate the contract, which we just can't know. Though my source personally believes that every convention should have something of a safety net in case of a worst case scenario like these. If your favorite convention starts asking for funds or donations, consider helping them if you want to see them succeed. But maybe email or ask them if they have the funds available to save the event should a situation like this arise again. But postponing a convention means that the next year's event is still going on, unless the dates have been permanently changed. Now, I know we all really want to attend these cons. I know I personally wanted to attend and perform at 10 conventions this year, but postponing a convention means that the event is still going on for the next year. So take BLFC for example, which has moved to October. That means the next one is still in April of next year. The staff get like no rest. That's a whole lot of work. I don't have an answer for that. I feel bad. The next convention on the COVID-19 cancellation spree is unfortunately Furlandia, which has remained optimistic that their event will go on in mid-May, but continue to monitor the situation closely. As the dates get closer and the virus only gets worse thanks to limited healthcare and testing available in the United States at least, uncertainty lingers. One of my sources believes that all of the events for the year should be cancelled, and we should set our sights onto 2021. But, optimistically, they hope that everything will be dealt with by September, but there's really no way to know. I hope you've all found this video informative as to the inner workings of our fandom's beloved conventions, and the struggles that they're going through right now in this difficult time. I'm personally excited for the conventions to return to form, whether it be later this year or in 2021. We're in an unprecedented time in history right now, so make sure that we stay optimistic, and stay furry too. We'll get through this together. There are some amazing online conventions going on right now. Check those out. Okay, that's it for the video. I'm trying to make a serious go at this YouTube thing, so if you liked the video, leave a like and consider subscribing. I've also got a Twitter and a new album out if you need some quarantine tunes to listen to. And I hope to see you in the next video, hopefully a more positive one. I'm Cassidy Civet again. See you guys at a convention, hopefully this year, and if not, I'll see you in 2021. See you guys, thanks for watching.